Hi, everyone. My name is Katya Ternopolska, and I'm very excited to have you all here today. I work at the Wormhole Foundation. Wormhole is an interoperability protocol. We power something like 50 chains and thousands of assets. And today, specifically, I'm here to talk to you about MultiGov. You're getting a bit of a sneak peek on MultiGov. It's not live yet, but it's coming up very, very soon. MultiGov is the industry's first multi-chain governance system that's going to be live on both the EVM ecosystem and Solana. It's a product that was built in partnership with several collaborators. We worked with both Tally and Scopelift to create the contracts and build the user flow. And those who are familiar with the governance space may be able to recognize those names. They're the two leading teams that build governance products in the space. So the MultiGov protocol will be first adopted by the Wormhole DAO, but it'll also be available to be used by any other DAO that wants to expand multi-chain, and that's what we're really excited about. So today I want to talk to you guys first about the origins of MultiGov. So it all starts with Wormhole. Wormhole, as I just mentioned, is an interoperability protocol. We support many different VMs. Solana, obviously. We were initially built as the bridge between Solana and Ethereum, and have since expanded to support the Move ecosystem, the EVM ecosystem, Cosmos, as well as bespoke VMs such as Near and Algorand. Since Wormhole's initial launch in 2020, interoperability has grown tremendously. This is a bit of an old screenshot. We've since passed, I think, something like $1 billion, no, $50 billion in all-time volume, and that number is consistently growing. Interoperability fundamentally helps projects scale. By using Wormhole, you can seamlessly access the entire crypto ecosystem, no matter what chain you're building on. As a result, almost all projects today are going multi-chain. This means a few different things to different teams. The most popular way to go multi-chain today is to have independent siloed deployments of a protocol on multiple networks. These protocols very rarely interact with one another, but still have a shared governance hub on one network. Some teams take it one step further and then work off of a hub and spoke model where one deployment is their hub, and then they can communicate information such as collateral requirements and positions via interoperability solutions that allow for a more cohesive protocol experience. Most multi-chain expansions follow a very similar format. This is usually the first way that people start to think about going multi-chain, through their token issuance. The distribution of multi-chain tokens was initially just wrapped assets. So if anybody used Portal Bridge a few years ago, the only way that you could get an asset from Solana to Ethereum would be by wrapping it through Wormhole. So you'd get out a Wormhole-wrapped version of the asset on the destination chain. Today, most projects create multi-chain tokens using frameworks, such as the Native Token Transfer framework that we recently built. We call it NTT, and it allows for a lot more flexibility in your token deployments. You have more customizability. You actually own the cross-chain token contracts yourself, and there's different ways that you can actually take the asset cross-chain. Wrapped is still an option with NTT, but a lot of protocols are now choosing to go the burn and mint model. All kinds of tokens get distributed cross-chain. We've got stablecoins, we've got governance tokens, LSTs, or LRTs. Most popularly, meme coins that Solana obviously is dominating in. And institutions, very interestingly, are also choosing to use NTT more recently. BlackRock's Biddle Fund, Apollo's ACRED, dozens of other tokenization platforms are also starting to think about their interoperability requirements, and they're consistently choosing Wormhole as that framework. So what happens then? You've got your asset. It lives on a number of different chains. Now you actually need to think about expanding the protocol itself. Expanding a protocol, like I mentioned, is a very wide spectrum of possibilities. You could do a single expansion, which is a hub and spoke, where the core logic of the protocol stays on one chain, and user can trigger interactions with that core logic across any different network. But you could also do more complex deployments where there's further engagement across all these different chains as well. Projects typically generally figure out what kind of expansion makes the most amount of sense for them, but it's usually the second step in the process. More recently, though, and this is what we are really excited to be innovators on, teams are starting to think about cross-chain governance. This makes a lot of sense. If your token's live on multiple chains, users should be able to interact with your protocol from whatever chain they're on. You've already expanded your user base to all these different networks, and these users should have the capacity to participate in the governance system without having to interact with that hub and that home deployment. So this is why we started to set this up. We fundamentally think that it's critical that your users, wherever they choose to participate, should be able to have a voice in governance. This is where multi-gov comes in. Multi-gov enables token holders to create, vote on, and execute proposals cross-chain. This allows you to expand your DAO to multiple chains, so you can have a truly multi-chain protocol, no matter what chain your users choose to be on. And multi-gov is forward-thinking. Over the past few years, we've seen a number of different governance systems emerge out of necessity. Some protocols have built their own systems. Aave is a great example of it. They built ADAI out of necessity to be able to govern their protocols across the 20 different chains that they operate on. More recently, we're starting to see, different governor issuers start to build multi-chain solutions themselves. The purpose here is the same, regardless of which system you're using. The objective is to make DAO governance as accessible, as active, as what else do we have? Decentralized and flexible as possible. And when we say multi-gov keeps governance active, we mean, again, you can have your community members vote from wherever they choose to hold their tokens. Governance stays accessible because you can participate on a chain where gas costs might be lower. For example, if your protocol was deployed on Ethereum, your core governance contracts exist on Ethereum, gas cost sucks. If you want to be able to vote and participate in governance, you're voting on Ethereum. It's the gas costs are prohibitive to be able to participate in that ecosystem. So what we want to empower is we want to ensure that users can choose to take their tokens to Arbitrum, choose to take their tokens to Solana, and still be able to cast their votes with their tokens, and be very mindful about their gas expenditures. It also continues to say more decentralized. And then if you choose to expand to a new network, you can also deploy a new multi-gov spoke to that network and expand not only your protocol, your token, but also now governance to that network. We don't want to get too technical today, but I do want to talk about how multi-gov actually works. So I touched on this a little bit at the start, but multi-gov operates on a hub and spoke model. So you deploy your core governance logic on a hub chain, and then you can deploy simpler, more lighter weight contracts on all of these spoke chains. So when a user votes on a spoke chain, the votes get aggregated and then sent to your hub chain. On the proposal side, the proposals are created on the hub chain, and each of the spoke chains are able to read that proposal using Wormhole queries, which is another product built by Wormhole. Wormhole queries, very simply, is a very lightweight pull-based messaging system that allows you to read state from any of the supported chains. So instead of having to actively check state on a new network, you can request just the information that you require and then populate that spoke chain with the important governance proposal details. Multi-gov is built on top of the OZ governor, the Open Zeppelin governor. This is the most popular governor live to date. Dozens of DAO use it today, and which is why we made sure to build multi-gov in an upgradable way. So if any of these existing DAOs today have one hub governor and want to focus on expanding to new networks, they have a path to upgradability there. And then, of course, multi-gov uses Wormhole's general message passing and Wormhole queries for all of the cross-chain interactions. This is just a high-level overview. On the next slide, that I control, we've got our docs live today. We're completing our final audit right now. Actually, the EVM contracts are live, and that repo is complete. We're just finishing up the Solana deployment now. And so soon, this repo will be open sourced. If you want to read more about it, docs are here. It goes through a high-level overview of the architecture as well as in detail. And so the question then is, who's actually going to be using multi-gov? we're going to be the first ones to use MultiGov. The Wormhole DAO is actually going to be launching very soon, TM. I don't want to front run our own announcement just yet, but we'll be announcing it very soon, and we'll be the first ones to implement it. Naturally, as a cross-chain protocol, it was really important for us to be able to have active community members participate in governance wherever they choose to. We're built as a bridge between ETH and Solana, but we now support over 50 chains today. And so we'll be launching it out of the gate with support for the Solana ecosystem, as well as a handful of EVM chains. And with time, we'll work on expanding it to support the Sui, Aptos, Move ecosystem, and Cosmos as well. We're pretty excited about this. We always tend to dogfood our own protocols. NTT, when it launched last year, that was also initially introduced to support the Wormhole W token. And so we're excited to launch this. We're also going to be announcing a handful of DAOs that will also be moving towards upgrading their core governance contracts to support MultiGov in the coming months. Stay tuned for exciting updates. And that's all I have for you guys today. Feel free to reach out. We're really excited about the prospect of moving the governance ecosystem further along. I think chain abstraction is a really hot topic right now. And I think cross-chain governance system is a really integral part of moving us towards that future. So here's my Telegram and my Twitter. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or are interested in integrating MultiGov into your DAO. And excited to be here and talking to you all today. Thanks.